called him Baba Yaga, the boogeyman.
Hey everyone, Thordan Smash here, and happy Easter Sunday or Passover if you celebrated it yesterday. If you don't celebrate anything, well then I just hope you're having a good weekend. Today we're going to be talking about upcoming legends for the game. We all know Ballistic is set to arrive in 1 month actually from today on May 9th. But with that, we don't really know anything about Season 18 or what legend we can be looking forward to there. And we're going to talk about my personal favorite character who I think has the most developed backstory if it ends up being true, and what they're going to look like when they come into the game. We're also going to give out a Caustic Prestige skin for the Veiled event when it drops, so all you got to do is like, comment, subscribe, and we'll have a winner announced tomorrow. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this new character. Alright, so let's go ahead and start talking about what in my opinion is possibly the most interesting legend getting added in. We know that there is Jester from the leaked list of legends that is from Titanfall 2 that was cut. Scryer seems like the most interesting in terms of abilities in my personal opinion, and just kind of the most fun to play around with in a competitive game. Now their passive is called Spectator, and it will automatically optic hunt and spectate your killer, which I'm surprised isn't in Apex Legends already, but due to some really cool news that Kralrindo just found in the files on April 1st and knows it's not an April 1st joke, it does actually look like they are adding a spectator mode to the game in general. It's not a kill cam per se, but it will allow you to jump into your friends' matches and watch them, which I think is going to be a great addition. And even though it's not a kill cam, it will be interesting to see how Scryer's ability actually would work in that sense, because to be able to use this, you actually have to make your team down an extra player. It's not something that will impact the majority of the game if you never die. So if you're the wink link on your team, Scryer is probably going to be the character your teammates make you pick. I imagine this has to be reworked in some degree though, because the amount of information that it can give is absolutely insane. There has to be, I assume, some kind of timer on this, very similar to the way that Ash can see into death boxes. The Tactical is another interesting ability, where it releases a parasite trap that reveals the target's vision. Now in the play model of this, they actually use the spider, and it looks like one of the ones from the Halloween event. Now unfortunately, because there's only one person in the firing range, we can't see that perspective, but it definitely seems fairly interesting. It's the wall hack meta brought to the next degree, because not only are you hacking through walls, you can see everything about the team's composition. It will be really interesting if you're able to see what kind of weaponry and then also the types of armor and what's in the player's inventory. But overall, this character is designed to absolutely be the utmost recon character possible, as they are in the recon class. Sadly though, we do know what their ultimate is, and it is called Shadow Wall, where you unleash a creeping wall of darkness that blocks sight and blinds enemies. This is most interesting because apparently this has been scrapped kind of in a way and was moved over to Catalyst, as that is clearly what Catalyst Wall does, and we know from the previous leak that Catalyst originally had just a giant tower she built, so it looks like for whatever reason Scryer's ability that was almost done got completely moved over to Catalyst. So when this character does launch, we should be expecting a completely reworked ultimate that we have no idea about whatsoever. But what I think makes this character the most interesting is what their story is. Now there are two possibilities, and they're based off the character's playtest image. And here we see a gentleman that has a scarred out eye. We don't really know much more detail, but it gives us two major hints. And the reason the eye is a giant hint is because Vantage's mom has a very similar marking on her eye. She was introduced in Vantage's story from the Outland, and the last we saw, she is in a prison. There isn't much else connecting the fact that it could be her. We don't know really any of Vantage's mom's backstory except that she was exiled to a snow planet where we see Vantage, but other than that, the only connecting form is the facial recognition. The other possible one, and this is my personal favorite, is the name Scryer itself, which is the name of the pilot from the Bangalore stories from the Outland, which was fully voiced as he went head to head searching for Newcastle when he was still Jackson and taking down Bangalore as well. And you might be thinking, well, this character died at the very end. Bangalore and Newcastle were able to take him down, and that's another reason it could be him, because all this character's abilities are ghost themed, such as Spectator and Optic Haunt. It could be a simulacrum, it could be a whole number of things. But if I were to put my money on it, while Vantage's mom does seem like a possible candidate, I would still heavily lean towards this character that just had a lot more screen time in the stories from the Outland. And it seems like with the addition of Jester, who I mentioned was a cut character from Titanfall 2, and how we got Ash, that just maybe we may be seeing more and more appearances of Titans and pilots in Apex Legends as they continue to merge the two worlds closer and closer together. It even looks like in Season 17 we're going to get a new game mode called Rumble Royale, which features the smart weapon from Titanfall 2, which is typically used by pilots. What do you guys think about Scryer? Would you rather see him be Vantage's mom, or do you like the guy from the Bangalore story from the Outland, and do you think he fits a bit better in the universe? And until next time, Legends, keep slaying the Outlands, and I'll see you out there.